he was the guy that I was like, when this is over here, bodies are gonna drop, man. I'm telling you, you ain't never seen nothing like. I remember Daniel Cormier saying to me like, "Really?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm telling you." I was pointing to him on in his debut. I go, "That's the boogeyman of boogeymen." I go, "He knocks people into orbit." And I was showing him some videos of kickboxing fights, and he was like, "Holy." I go, "Dude, everybody he touches, he's got the touch of death."
No one
and then
does
we
it
start
like
steamrolling. He does it so sneaky. It's also, he's got that crazy long frame, you know, but he stands almost like square and then just throws the leg out. Like, you don't even see anything coming. There's no.
Alex Pereira and Khabib Nurmagomedov were recently seen training together in the same gym, and what followed was completely unexpected. Footage, initially released in snippets by Fighter Run channels and later reshared by popular pages like Championship Rounds on X, showed Pereira moving lightly on his feet, while Khabib, shorter and stockier, maintained his signature low stance, darting in with level changes and applying grappling pressure. It didn't take long for Joe Rogan and fans to start criticizing the session, suggesting that Pereira needs to improve his wrestling skills.
Very far when you start talking about Alex Pereira versus John Jones. You just don't get there because we know that John can throw him down and beat him up. Like, that's just something John does so well. He can throw people down and then beat them up. Well, you go watch this fight and you go, well, hey, you know what? It turns out that old Alex Pereira ain't so easy to take down. Alex Pereira really showed some stuff. That entire narrative that he can't wrestle and he can't defend is now gone. Goliath revealed his plan, and that was to take him down. His plan failed.
Joe Rogan reacted on his podcast, calling the sparring a rare glimpse into pure technique. He acknowledged how unlikely the matchup was, saying, "You have two champions from completely different philosophies. Pereira wants to take your head off. Khabib wants to take your soul and dominate every inch of you." Rogan described seeing them move together like that as surreal.
Now dominating two different weight divisions.
He's a beast, man. I've been training with him. Sometimes he's a beast.
Where do you train with him?
Glover's place.
In Danbury?
In Danbury, and also he went to my place too with Glover. Because Glover and I, we are very close now. Still.
Really?
Sometimes we get together and we training with Alex and training. He knows how to fight, you know. He's a beast. Because people know he's kind of awkward sometimes. His movements look, only he can do that movement.
Rogan added that Khabib still looks like he never left the sport. And as for Pereira, man, that guy is a monster right now. Every strike he throws, even light, looks like it could dent a car. He emphasized that this wasn't about ego, but mutual respect, saying, "When two greats spar like this, it's about learning, it's never about proving anything." Still, that didn't stop fans online from turning it into a battlefield. One tweet summed up the divided opinions. "One's a warrior, one's a bee." A line that opened the floodgates for comparisons of their legacies.
Everybody, and it was the way he was doing. He was putting him into orbit.
You just never know, though, because of the straight
Dustin Jacoby,
kickboxing.
that Dustin Jacoby KO.
Savage.
Jesus Christ! I was like, this fucking guy's terrifying. He was just different. Like, the power was different. The style was different. It's a weird style. Hands down, weird movement, like but super.
Another fan piled on, saying, "That's why Khabib cannot be the GOAT." Soon, others began dissecting the footage and analyzing every exchange. One fan commented, "Bro needs to be wrestling," referring to Pereira, while another mocked Khabib's post-retirement dominance, saying, "He's always looking sharp. But after his fights, he has all the excuses. Oh, I had a broken hand. Oh, I was on antibiotics. Blah blah blah." The chatter escalated even further when someone floated the idea of a potential UFC 317 main event, Ankalavi versus Pereira.
He's outmatched on the feet. That doesn't mean that he can't win on the feet. That doesn't mean he can't catch him with the right hand and knock him out. But that isn't his best chance to victory. We put a video out there showing him hitting the bag and all the rest of it. And of course, he has got takedowns. He comes from Dagestan. He needs to wrestle in this fight. He needs to wrestle and try and exploit the weakness of Alex Pereira. You do not go up against Pereira, a two-weight division champion from Glory Kickboxing, with some of the heaviest hands that we've ever seen in all of mixed martial arts. The man has the touch of death.
Imagine Ank versus Alex, headlining UFC 317, because no one stepped up. One tweet read, bringing renewed scrutiny to Pereira's performance against Ankalav, at UFC 313, a loss that some fans believe exposed serious gaps in his game. Others blamed Pereira's stance, saying, "He needs to keep his hands up. That's how he was getting tagged by Ankalaev." One blunt comment cut straight to the point. I bet punching your opponent next time might
When
work.
it comes to hitting people, that dude, he's fucking technical too, man.
Yeah.
Not just power.
Yeah.
The way he's setting Izzy up, the left murderous, and he checks kicks as
Yeah.
good as anybody, man.
I fought him when he fought Strickland, and his fist is like literally both mine put together. It was so massive.
Dude, and they're long.
Yeah.
They're like long fists.
Just a big fella. Just a big fucking
His
fella.
fucking
This debate isn't happening in a vacuum. It's unfolding at a time when Alex Pereira's career is on an absolute tear. After successfully defending his belt against Jomahil Hill at UFC 300, Pereira faced Jiri Prochazka again at UFC 303 and defeated him a second time. Most recently, he scored a violent TKO win over Khalil Rountree Jr. at UFC 37. Cementing his reputation as a rare fighter who thrives under pressure and pushes everyone he faces to their limit. 3 wins in 3 high-stakes fights, including back-to-back title defenses, have fans putting his name alongside the legends.
He's gonna take him down. He's gonna take him down. Scott, right? He's just gonna take him. I don't think his wrestling is like unbelievable. He's not a wrestler. People think, oh, Russian wrestler. No, he's not a wrestler.
I'm still going Pereira.
I think Pereira's gonna win as well. If Ankalaev just wrestles the whole fight, he could probably win. But I don't think his wrestling is that good. He wrestled with Paul Craig, and Paul Craig was taking him down.
Yeah.
Craig ended up submitting him. Not impressed with his ground game, his grappling. He's gonna have to strike with him at some point, and I think Pereira will knock him out. That's just the reality of the situation.
If Ankalaev beats Alex Pereira by the transfer
Which
property.
brings us to the heated legacy comparison between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Alex Pereira. Khabib retired undefeated at 29-0, dominating nearly everyone he faced with relentless pressure, control, and unmatched ground pound. His career was short but devastating. Pereira, in contrast, entered MMA late but quickly rose to become a multi-division champion, competing across middleweight and light heavyweight with massive knockouts over names like Adesanya, Blachowicz, Hill, and
I also
now
want to talk about Pereira's knockout. A fantastic knockout. It won't make the list, not for top 5, okay, not for top 4, but it was a phenomenal KO. One of the best of all time as well. He landed that KO. Look closely how he landed that KO. He hit Jamal Hill when he threw that hook, and we call that a Mexican hook, okay?
Khabib supporters argue that Pereira has been exposed, pointing to his UFC 313 loss to Magomed Ankalaev, where he appeared overwhelmed by the Dagestani's relentless pressure and struggled to create the striking space he thrives on. While Khabib didn't directly comment on the fight, his circle Dissalam Makhachev, Khabib's protege and current lightweight champion, remarked afterward, "That's what happens when you face structure. Pereira is dangerous against chaos, but when he fights someone with order, he folds." Khabib reshared several Ankalaev victory posts and was seen at the event, nodding in approval. The message wasn't loud, but it was clear. Pereira had been solved on. The people solving him were part of Team Dagestan.
Pereira hitting the bag saying, "Sydney, I will see you soon." You would think that he would be fighting against Magomed Ankalaev, who many thought would be a nightmare of a matchup for him. It's hard not to think that Alex Pereira would find the same kind of success that he's been finding against everyone else. The general idea was that if he fought Ankalaev, Ankalaev would just try to take him down and hold him down.
In the days following UFC 313, things took an unexpected turn when Pereira's social media account posted what appeared to be a retirement message. Though vague, it was enough to make fans believe he was walking away from MMA. Hours later, Pereira claimed he had been hacked and dismissed any talk of retirement. Though some still speculated he was emotionally testing the waters or trying to apply pressure on the UFC. Daniel Cormier, never one to sugarcoat, called the hack story a little too convenient and suggested that Pereira might be considering stepping away but wasn't ready to commit
Person in the top 5 of light heavyweight who you haven't already beaten or isn't coming off a loss is Magomed Ankalaev, who's unbeaten in his past 12 fights. Do you feel like he deserves a shot at the title?
Bom, todo mundo merece, mas eu não sou o cara para decidir. Acho que as pessoas têm que perguntar isso pro Dana White. Eu tô pronto para qualquer um.
Everybody deserves, but I'm not the guy to ask. They gotta talk to Dana White.
I did ask him, and he said if you wanted to fight him, he'd give you that fight.
Meanwhile, Ankalaev, the new light heavyweight champ, wasn't buying any of it. He accused Pereira of ducking a rematch, saying he knows what happened, he doesn't want that again. Backed by support from Khabib's team and Makhachev, Ankalaev leaned into the growing narrative that Pereira is dangerous but predictable, saying, once you feel his pressure and survive, you can break
When you say that he invented his own style of fighting, what do you mean by that?
Well, because if you see Pereira, he don't fight like, okay, you look at some fighters, okay, this is a Dutch kickboxer, this is a Muay Thai fighter. On the stand-up fighting, there's many different styles, right? Prohaska do kind of his own thing. Alex, he started boxing, then he started doing kickboxing, then even when he fought Jason Williams the first time, he was more of a boxer. Then when Williams fought him the last time, he
this pattern where Dagestani fighters defeat strikers through pressure and control, then frame the win as proof of their system's superiority, isn't new. But with Pereira, it feels especially pronounced due to the dramatic nature of his rise. He burst into the UFC, tearing through top-tier names, often as the underdog, with freakish power and unshakable poise. His aura was built on dominance, and when that cracks, even once, the foundation begins to tremble. Still, not everyone agrees. Pereira's fans point to his level of activity and competition for fights in 12 months. With 3 wins and a single loss to a notoriously awkward and gritty opponent. They argue that Khabib never fought in multiple weight classes, never rematched anyone, and only defended his belt a few times before walking away.
With that calf kick, because he throws it. He's got that weird style. He stands, and he just kind of throws it out there, and you don't even see it coming because he's not twisting his hips. He's not, and it's still he hits so hard that he doesn't have to turn his body weight into it.
The GOAT debate, they argue, needs to factor in risk, and that risk factor is exactly why some believe Pereira's legacy could ultimately surpass Khabib's. Even with more losses, titles in multiple weight classes, finishes over legends, and a willingness to fight anyone speak to a different kind of greatness, not flawless dominance, but bold danger. While this philosophical divide continues to play out online, the UFC seems content to let the conversation build. Adding fuel to the fire, Artem Vakatova, former kickboxing rival who once defeated Pereira, has publicly called for a trilogy fight, either in MMA or kickboxing, stating, Pereira only wins when he picks his opponents. That line stung fans, especially since Pereira has consistently faced top-tier competition. But it added to the growing chorus, framing him as a fighter who can be figured out if you come in with the right system.
Or Ankalaev, who you got? We
will strike with him. We will wrestle with him. Wherever we need to do it, we will to win.
Alex, chama.
I'll go with Pereira. I want Pereira to win, you know?
Yeah, I think if Ankalaev can utilize his wrestling, then it's going to be a tough night for Alex, but I'm Team Pereira.
I don't know, man. I think he's going to pull it off.
Everybody knows this Chama guy. This guy is a monster. But Ankalaev, he's from mountains. He can wrestle and he can strike. Gotta go. Chama.
Pereira, early, first round, knocks him down, almost like what he did Jamal Hill.
Chama.
The system is exactly what Khabib and his fighters have mastered. Even in retirement, Khabib's presence continues to shape the careers of Magomed Ankalaev, Islam Makhachev, and Umar Nurmagomedov, with Islam holding the lightweight belt, Ankalaev reigning at light heavyweight, and Umar on the verge of a bantamweight title shot. Khabib's blueprint is becoming clear. Control multiple divisions simultaneously without ever having to step back into the cage himself.
For me, I'm like, I don't really care, but there's one reaction he gave. I didn't want to say this I won't tell the UFC people this, but like there's one reaction he gave, like they panned to like some stuffed animals and he goes, and for me, I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like that I don't look at him and go, why you wearing that fucking face paint and crawling on the ground like you're a tiger. I don't care. That's what you want to do. That's what you do. That gives you power. That gives you power. But the fact that he looks at me and the way I live my life, I wasn't even doing nothing about him. I'm living my life.
Beyond the sparring criticism, Alex Pereira just received a reality check from one of the sport's original tough guys, Don Fry. Fry's message was a clear warning. Don't buy into your own legend. He knows firsthand what happens when a fighter starts believing their own hype. Fry admitted he made that mistake, fighting through injuries, relying on pills to get through camps, ignoring rest, and letting promoters talk him into fight after fight. It nearly killed him. And the aftermath? No check-ins, no appreciation, no support. They don't give a damn about you, he said, during an appearance on Submission Radio. His tone wasn't bitter, just honest. He's been there, and now he sees signs that Pereira might be heading down that same dangerous path. In 2024 alone, Alex Pereira fought 4 times, taking out Jamahal Hill at UFC 300, rematching and finishing Jiri Prochazka again at UFC Senling Sen, and just weeks later scoring a brutal TKO win over Khalil Roundtree Jr. at UFC 307. That's 3 massive wins in just 16 months apace. That's almost unheard of in modern MMA, where most champions fight once, maybe twice a year. But Pereira isn't like most champions. He's become the UFC's go-to emergency headliner, the man Dana White calls when a card falls apart. He always shows up, and fans love him for it. But that kind of schedule comes with consequences, and the most visible of those came at UFC 313, when Pereira lost to Magomed Ankalaev. It wasn't a dramatic knockout or a submission, it was a clean, dominant decision. Ankalaev shut him down with technical precision. The striking exchanges were one-sided, and Pereira looked slower, off balance, and hesitant. Whispers started immediately. Was he injured, sick, overtrained? Reports swirled about a norovirus and a nagging hand injury. But as Don Fry hinted, at some point all the speculation fades behind one simple truth. Sometimes the body just says, no. So guys, subscribe to my channel for more new updates.